Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Talking with Timaiah. I'm Timaiah. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell so that you're notified whenever I post new content. If you're a returner, as always, thank you guys so much for the support. I feel like this video is very timely for anyone who is in school. A lot of people are going into their first month of school or their first 5 weeks of school, and I feel like this is the time where people are really starting to look at how they've been approaching things and see what is working for them and what is not working for them. So I am going to try and give you guys some tips on what I find to be the most helpful and most constructive ways for me to take notes in school. So let's get started. Those of you guys who do not know, I am a JD MBA student. So not only am I a law student, but I'm also a business student, and I also went to college. So I have taken a lot of notes in my day. So I can tell you guys what methods have been effective for me, what methods have not been so great for me, and what I feel like really helps me be the most successful at exams. And that's really what it's all about. You're not taking notes just because it's just fun. You're taking notes because you want to ultimately be prepared for the end goal, which is typically exams or quizzes, some form of testing. That is typically why you want to take the most effective notes. So I'm gonna first start by pretty much going into how I'm currently taking notes, and it's honestly different for every single class. So I wanna just tell you guys what I've been doing and what I feel like has been really working for me. The first method that I'm going to talk about is handwritten notes. So I actually am in a class currently where we are not allowed to bring any electronics, like no phones, no laptops, no iPads, none of that. None of it. So you have to write your notes. You have to do it the old-fashioned way. And it is scientifically proven that writing your notes helps you retain the information better. So that's a benefit. But I will say that if you're in a program that's similar to law school, or just honestly any program, because a lot of professors do this. I've noticed this at the collegiate level. I've noticed this in business school, even in high school. A lot of times one day the professor could be talking about one topic or one subject matter. The next day they're talking about something else, and then the following day they jump back to the first topic that they talked about. And so that makes it very inconvenient if you're writing your notes in an actual spiral notebook. So for me, in my classes that are law school classes, I have noticed that I have been preferring to actually take loose leaf notes and then put my notes into a binder. So what I like to do is pretty much just write down what the professor is saying in multicolored pens. You guys have seen my school supply haul video, so you guys have seen how many pens I use. But I write my notes in multicolored pens because it kind of helps me stay focused, and it's really good to see what color I use what for. So I might use a vocab word for one color. I might use dicta from a case in another color. I might use the holding in another color. It's just really convenient for me to see what colors apply to whatever it is that I'm writing in for whatever course. But I would say that the best thing for me when handwriting my notes is to have nice colors that I'm using, and then to also use loose leaf sheets. So you guys can see, here's an example of how some of my notes might look, or how I would take my notes. And this is what I definitely prefer when I'm doing handwritten notes. I will also say that writing your notes definitely helps you engage with the material, because you're not just transcribing what the professor is saying. You're really writing down what is most important, as opposed to sometimes when you might be typing your notes, when you're really just transcribing what the professor is saying exactly, and it's very robotic and it's not very methodical. You're not really taking your time to discern what's important and what's not important, and that's really why a lot of people do prefer to write their notes. So I would say definitely do what works for you. If you're someone who is able to type your notes and you're not simply transcribing what's being said, but you're actually trying to discern what's important, and you're trying to gauge what is actually needed to be written down or typed, I think that typing your notes is definitely doable, especially because it can save you a lot of time, and it can save you a lot of anxiety. A lot of times if the professor is talking a little bit too quickly, you feel as though you missed something important, or you can't really get everything when you're writing your notes. But when you're typing, you can kind of keep up a little bit more with fast talking professors. So now I'm going to move on to laptop or tablet note taking, if you're someone who actually uses a tablet. But if I look around my classrooms at school, I would say 98% of the students are taking laptop notes. So this is for you if you are one of those people. So digital notes is obviously kind of like it. A lot of us are millennials. A lot of us are just digital beings. So it's really sometimes just very convenient for you to take computerized notes. Not only are you able to move things around, so say if you have a professor who uses graphics, or if you're using different images, it's just easy, it's just more convenient for you because you're not having to cut up pieces of paper, you're not having to move pages around. Like, you can honestly do everything with the click of a button, especially with some of the amazing softwares out there, which actually brings me to the sponsor of today's video, which is PDF Element. They have changed the game for note-taking for me and dozens, thousands, millions of other students out there. So I'm going to tell you guys about how I use this software in class and how it really has just helped my note-taking, helped me move a lot quicker, and also just helped me be more efficient with my note-taking, which is what is most important. PDF Element Express changed the game for me. There was once a time where I actually hated when professors would give us like online PDFs because there was absolutely nothing that you could do with it, like nothing. Like, the most that I would do is like print my PDFs and then have loose leaf papers, and then if there were any changes that I wanted to make that wouldn't all fit on the document, I would like write them on a separate sheet and then put that sheet behind the PDF and then staple it. Like, just nonsense. Nobody has time for that. Very inefficient, just nonsense. So what I love about this software is it's just allowed me to be a lot more productive. So while my professor is going over notes in class, I'm able to simultaneously put any additional notes that I want to put, any key topics. I'm able to highlight what's important. I'm able to annotate on the document. It just makes things a whole lot easier, and it's all in one place. I can make all these changes with like the click of a button, and those are things that I was never able to do. Also, I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with any other PDF editors, but they are hard to use. Like, they're not very user friendly. So when I want to highlight, first of all, the colors on those other PDF editors typically suck. Once again, I just can't find a better word. They typically suck. And then on top of that, if it's a document that has images, it's just like, if you're going to try to move them, good luck. And if you're going to try to type into a PDF, good luck. It just, the reality of it is it's just very inconvenient. So if you guys want to try this software out, which I highly recommend, especially if you're like in business school where we use a lot of PDFs there as well, like way too many, or you're in law school where we also use a lot of PDFs, or even college where I know you use a lot of PDFs depending on your major, you can get 50% off. That's half. I don't know if y'all are good with numbers, but let me tell you, 50% means half. That's half of it. You can get 50% off. All of the information is down below in the description box. Check it out. If you guys actually do get this, DM me so I can tell y'all some of the really cool tricks that I use that are really helpful with this. So next, if you're someone who also uses computer note-taking, but you don't have a class that actually uses PDFs, there is just typing your notes. So there are tons of softwares. Most people use Microsoft Word, but actually something that I do is I will type all of my notes in Google Docs. And the reason for that is because 1L year, all of my notes from 1L year are long gone because my computer broke. Like, my MacBook broke my first year of law school, so I have lost all of that information. So in order for me to just make sure that I back up all of my information, I use the similar word function on Google, so it's called Google Docs. So I use Google Docs and it saves the material like every 2 seconds. So I never have to worry about losing documents, which used to happen to me a lot. I remember even once in undergrad, I spent the entire night working on a paper that I waited until the last minute to do. I lost that entire paper. I don't know what happened. And I actually had a PC then. When I had a PC, things just used to go awry. Like, I used to lose documents. My computer would get viruses. It just sucked. So I had to get a Mac. And then one of my Macs ended up breaking too, but whatevs. It's technology. But I would just say that I just think now that it's a lot smarter for me to have all of my notes in my Google document, as you can see here, I label it by what class I'm working on. And I'm actually a note sharer, which is why I'm really big on notes. So what I do after I finish typing my notes is I'll download them as a Microsoft file, and then I'll send them to student affairs at my school so that they can disseminate them to the students who have an accommodation and who need notes. So yes, if you're somebody who you're dealing with computers, they're tricky little things. You never know what's going to happen with your computer. So I would recommend also just maybe using something like a cloud function so that you can have all of your stuff saved in one place, or maybe putting your notes on a flash drive, or just using Google Docs or any other like OneNote or whatever else out there that actually saves your things. So there are the people who take the handwritten notes. If that's you, do what works for you. Get nice pens that make it easy for you to write your notes. Be organized. Keep all of your things in one place. Don't just have loose leaves all over the place. If you are someone who wants to use a notebook, make sure that you are keeping in mind that a lot of times professors jump around. They jump around, and it can make your notes really unorganized. So I do recommend using loose leaf paper and using a binder, but it's completely up to you. Just make sure that you are keeping up with what the professor is saying and that you're actually note-taking what is important. If you're someone that likes to type your notes, please make sure that you're not transcribing. You are not in court transcribing what is going on in the trial. That's not your job. Your job is to discern what the important material is. If you're just typing everything, not only are you going to have like 1,000 pages of notes after the semester is over that you have to comb through to figure out what's important, you're also just wasting a lot of time. So I would say try to discern what is important. Don't be a transcriber. Be someone who is listening and then typing what's important. Also, don't get distracted. If you find yourself being distracted by Facebook, MySpace, I know some of y'all still got a MySpace, YouTube, whatever distracts you on the computer, Amazon. If you're somebody who will be distracted, turn off your Wi-Fi and simply type. But don't turn off your Wi-Fi if you're using Google Docs, because then it's not going to be saving it and then you're going to be screwed, and then I'm sorry. So turn off your Wi-Fi and use like Microsoft Word if you're somebody who's going to be distracted, because it's not worth it. Like, you end up really putting yourself in a bind because you're missing the important things and then you're just trying to transcribe it. If you're somebody who has a class that provides PDFs, I just gave y'all all the tea. Go to the description box, save your life, change the game, and tell your friends about it, because when I tell y'all all of my friends have this software now, I mean all of them, because it's just very helpful, and we have used other PDF editors that just don't work. So this is really great. But these are just my tips for note-taking in law school. Do what works for you, and also realize that in every single class, you're probably going to be doing something different, because every professor is different. Every professor teaches the material differently. So don't think that there's just this one way that's just going to work for everything. That's not the case. Everything is going to be different. So just try to discern what your professor is doing. Try to figure out what your professor's teaching style is, and then act accordingly. So that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Comment below and let me know how you take notes so I can just see what you guys are doing. Do you do 3 different methods? Do you only do one thing and you find that it works for you? Let me know what you guys are doing. Follow me on my social media, and I will see you guys in my next video.